Hello, I'm Sean. I'm a personal trainer based in Stafford, and Lee's asked me to put together a strength workout to complement your running plans for exclusively for run fit athletes. The workout should take you up to about sort of 45 minutes to go through. We start off with a mobility warm up, some full body cars, so controlled articulated rotations, just to get the body prepped for the strength work that we're going to go through. Then we run through a circuit of 7 exercises, working all the primary muscles used for when you're running, so a lot of lower body, calf work, glutes, hamstrings, quads, as well as the core as well. I have described it as a circuit, but it's not to be done as a high intensity circuit you might be familiar with. All the exercises to be done in a slow and controlled manner. Ideally, when we're doing the reps, we're looking at a tempo of about sort of 2 seconds down, 2 seconds up. That's the kind of speed that we're looking for. So when we run through the 7 exercises, each exercise should take you at least a minute to do. Some of them maybe 2 minutes if we're having to do individual legs. Okay, so the idea isn't to get it done quickly. The more time under tension that we can create when we're doing the exercise, the better. So if I've got 2 people doing 10 squats, if it takes one person 10 seconds, if it takes the other person 1 minute, the person doing 1 minute of squats will benefit a lot more. There's a lot more time under tension, even though they've done the same number of reps, okay? So try and remember that 2 seconds down, 2 seconds up, slow and controlled as we run through the exercises. So yeah, I just basically want to go through each of them today so you're confident that you're going to be able to perform them well on your own. So to talk you through the warm-up first of all, so full body cars, we start off with the shoulders, move through to the spine, move through the hips, just to get our body warm and mobile before we start the strength exercises. So with our shoulders, we do one arm at a time. Although we're working the shoulders, I want you to create full body tension. So right now, I'm tensing into my quads, I'm tensing into my glutes, and I'm also, imagine you're squeezing onto a tennis ball in the non-working side. Okay, so I'm going to work my right arm, I'm squeezing a tennis ball in my left hand, I'm tensing into my quads and my glutes and my thighs, okay? About 30% tension. With my right hand, I'm going to turn my palm forward and then trying to keep your arms as straight as you can. You're going to slowly draw a circle as large as you can. When your bicep reaches your ear, I'm going to rotate my palm to face away from me, push away until the back of my hand comes to my bum. I'm then going to push my arm away from my body. As I come up to my ear, I start to rotate my palm towards the inside of my body, and the back of my hand comes to my thigh, okay? We do this 2 times, and this is the speed that we're looking for. Imagine we're underwater and we're just kind of pushing that water away. It's slow and controlled, all the way down to the back of the thigh. Again, pushing it away. As we come up towards the top, we externally rotate the shoulder, and the palm faces the front. Okay, so you can do that 2 rotations, front and back, and you're going to do that on each arm. And second exercise, we look at spinal cars. So for this one, I want you to get into all fours. Knees are directly below your hips, shoulders are directly below your, hands are directly below your shoulders. From here, we want to turn our elbow creases forward. So imagining you're opening jam jars with your hands, elbow creases are facing forwards. We're pressing your hands into the floor, so we're pushing the shoulders up towards the ceiling. So right now I've got tension in my arms, into my abs and chest as well. We go from a bit of a cat-cow stretch, so if any of you are familiar with yoga or Pilates, you might be familiar with cat-cow. So we've got stretch into a cow, stretch up into a cat, into a cat. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to break down this movement. So we start in flexion, and we start with a rounded back. So I'm going to push my shoulders up to the ceiling and let my head drop. From here, it may be a little bit difficult to see on camera because it's quite a small movement, but what I'm now trying to do is I'm trying to untuck my spine from my bottom, so from the tailbone, so from the bottom of my spine, I'm untucking, my head stays facing down, it's the last thing to lift. So 1 vertebra at a time, I'm moving up my spine until my head lifts at the top. Keeping my head lifted, I'm now going to tuck my tailbone, so I'm using my abs, I'm drawing my belly button towards my spine, I'm tucking my tailbone underneath me, so my lower back starts rounding, moving to my mid-back, my upper back, and the last thing is my head. So just to speed that up for you, it is going to be slowly, but just to speed it up for the purpose of the video, untucking from the bottom, head's the last thing to lift, and I tuck my spine from the bottom through to my mid-spine, shoulders, head, okay? Again, slow and controlled movements, and we're looking at 3 full rotations. So work from my tailbone to my head, back to my tailbone is 1, you'll repeat that 2 more times. And then staying on all fours, we're going to look at hip cars next. So same position, all fours, tension in the upper body, so I'm going to rotate my shoulders so that my elbow creases are forward. Just going to give myself a little bit of space. Try and keep your knees at 90 degrees. So I'm going to raise my right knee. I'm keeping my knee really at 90 degrees. I'm just moving through my hip. We're trying to draw circles as large as you can with your hips. So from here, I'm going to bring my knee as close to my chest as I can. Then I send my knee and foot as wide as I can. Sending it round the back over the imaginary hurdle. Sole of my foot's now facing up to the ceiling. And I bring it back through to the centre. So we bring the knee in as far as you can. Send the knee high and wide over that imaginary hurdle. Round the back and back through. You're going to do that 3 times, and then we stay on the same side and we go into reverse. So I'm going to send my right foot up towards the ceiling, knee and foot high over that hurdle, into the chest, back down to centre. Foot up to the ceiling, knee and ankle high over the hurdle, knee to chest, back to centre. That's going to be 3 times each side. Again, full body tension. What we don't want is we don't want everything else to be moving around with you. So my shoulders are staying facing the floor, my left thigh is staying vertical, and all the movement is coming through this right hip. 3 times forward, 3 times backwards on each side. Okay? That should take you, if done properly, slowly and controlled, it should take you at least sort of 5 minutes to go through. And I can already feel it. Just doing my right side, I can already feel right shoulder and right hip feeling a little bit different to the left, okay? So you should feel it working there. Once you've done that, we're ready to start the workout, and you can fit those cars in as frequent as you like. So you can add that into like your morning routine. You can certainly add it in before you go running. A really good preparation for whenever you're feeling stiff or tight and you just want to loosen up and work on a little bit of mobility. So the 7 exercises we're going to go through, I'll run through them one by one. First one being the goblet squat. It is the only one that I've added any extra equipment into. So the goblet squats, if you've got a kettlebell or a dumbbell or anything like that, that'd be absolutely perfect. And we hold it at the front of the body. If you don't have any equipment, we can literally load the body at the front of the body with anything that weighs something. A rucksack's ideal. In here I've got a large book and I've got a few cans of food as well. I've got about 5 kilos in there, but there's loads of space, so I can add plenty more weight as I need to. I would recommend starting at about 5 kilograms and then sort of each week, as long as you're comfortable with it, start to increase the load by about sort of 10% each week. Good thing about the rucksack is I don't even really have to hold it. Maybe I want to put my fingertips in place just to keep it there. So we've got a rucksack option, we've got kettlebell option, anything you got, I've got a 5 kilogram pack of protein powder here. You can do the same with potatoes, whatever you've got lying around the house. I'll show you with the rucksack, 'cause it's probably what most people have got. So we load this onto the front of the body. Now with your squats, we want to line our feet up so they're about hip width apart. When we've got our feet on the floor, right now, I'm pressing my feet out into the floor. Imagine I'm ripping the ground apart with my feet. My feet aren't actually sliding, but by me doing that now, I can feel the outside of my hips and thighs working and contracting, okay? That's what we want to try and feel throughout the whole squat. From here, I keep looking straight forwards. I'm just going to show you from side on. And imagine you've got a chair behind you. You're going to push your hips back to sit down into that chair. Ideally till your thighs are about 90 degrees, so your knees are about 90 degrees. And then push them back through to this top until the legs are straight. So just keep looking straight forward, stick the bum out, keep the chest lifted, sit down into your squat to where it feels comfortable for you, press them back up again. Throughout that whole time, I've got the legs pushing out, feeling the tension on the outside of my thighs as well as the quads, okay? By loading the weight at the front of the body, we are primarily working the front of the thighs. We're also getting the glutes involved there a little bit of core work as well. You'll do 15 reps of that exercise, and then you'll move on to the second exercise. I've alternated the exercise, so although they're done back to back, you are getting a little bit of your muscles are getting a little bit of rest, because we're going from sort of front of the thigh to the back of the thigh, and we've got a bit of core work in there towards the end as well. So marching glute bridges next. We need you to lie on the floor. Make sure, if you haven't got carpet, if you've got a hard surface, then you're probably better off using a towel or a mat. I'd probably invest in a mat, to be honest, if you are working on tiles or hard surface with this one. So marching glute bridges. From here, what we want to do is position our feet to our hip width apart, and our heels are just about within touching distance of your fingertips. Then we clench our fists, keep your elbows tucked into your side, head relaxes on the floor, looking up towards the ceiling. And then from here, I'm going to drive my elbows into the floor, and I'm also digging my heels into the floor, okay? Imagine you creating craters into the ground with your heels. So my heels are digging into the ground. My triceps are digging into the ground as well to keep my hips lifted. We're looking for a straight line from your knee running through to your hip, through to your shoulder. From here, we're just going to straighten one leg, control back down, straighten the opposite leg, control back down. So the working leg is primarily the leg that's not moving, okay? So as soon as I release one leg, I'm really working hard to keep my hips up. What will happen if you don't think about it is throughout the set, your hips will start to drop. Keep reminding yourself, imagine you're squeezing a penny between your bum cheeks. You don't want to let go of that penny, you're holding it tight, squeezing tight, and just keep breathing throughout the whole time, okay? Main areas, you'll feel this, back of the hamstrings, glutes, lower back, a little bit around the stomach as well, okay? So if you do feel it in your lower back, you are supposed to, but you don't want to be feeling any abnormal pain. If you do, just give myself a little shout and we can help you get around that. So squats into marching glute bridges, 15 reps each side, so 30 reps in total. Third exercise, we've got rear foot elevated split squats. So for this one, you just need an elevated platform. Anything from about mid-shin to knee height is what we're looking at. So a chair, the sofa, coffee table, you could even use like the bottom 2 steps of the stairs, anything where we can raise the back foot by about a foot or 2. Start off with your calves touching the sofa or whatever platform you're using. Take a nice long stride forwards and then place your back foot face down and the item behind you, okay? We're trying to keep your front knee stacked over your ankle. From here, we don't want to try and lunge forward. Imagine you're in an elevator and we can only go up or down, okay? So I'm going to go straight down from here. So my knee stays stacked over my ankle until my thighs parallel to the floor. And I'm going to push through my heel of the front foot to my front leg straight. Keep looking straight forward. Slowly lower down again to that thighs parallel to the floor. Drive through the heel of the front foot until that leg's straight. Okay? That's the optimal range that we're looking for. If it's a little bit low for you to start off with, go to the range that you feel comfortable, and over the weeks you can start to go a little bit lower. If you're struggling with balance, you can set a chair up in front of you, or you can do it next to a wall or door, something that's not moving, so I can just place my hand on there and I'm just holding that just for a little bit of balance as well. If you are holding on to something, do try and maintain tall and straight. I don't want to be sort of leaning forward or leaning to the side to try and hold on to things. You will feel off balance and you will get frustrated, because everyone does. Don't get frustrated. We're trying to make you unstable by going on one leg to make your muscles work harder. So when you have a little wobble and you recorrect it and your muscles contract to stabilise you and put you back in the right position, that's a good thing. If you weren't wobbling and moving about so much, we'd look to make you off balance another way. Rep range for that exercise is 12 to 15 reps on each leg. So you do 12 to 15 on one leg, 12 to 15 reps on the other side. If you feel like you've got a dominant side. You probably don't know at the moment if it's your first time doing it, but if after a session or two you know you've got a weaker side, do that side first. If I can only do 10 reps on my left leg, then I'll match 10 reps on my right leg, okay? Even if I feel I can do more, you want to get an even balance of both. So do what you can on your non-dominant side first, match that with your dominant leg afterwards, okay? Exercise number 4, we've then got single leg deadlifts. So for this one, we're working primarily the hamstrings and glutes. We have got hand support in for this as well. So you can just place your hand close to something to help you with your balance. I'm just going to show you without, just because you'll get a better camera angle. So I'll show you my right leg from side on. Imagine you're buried up to sand, up to your knee, okay? So from my foot to my knee, that's not going to move, okay? We raise one leg, keep your hands either on support or out to the side for balance, and we're looking at a hip hinge, okay? So the movement's not through the knee, it's not a squat or a lunge, it's through the hips. So we're going to look to tilt the pelvis, okay? Stick the bum out and keep the chest lifted. So we try and maintain this flat back. So what it looks like on one leg, from here, I'm just going to tilt forward. We're looking at that sort of 2 seconds down, 2 seconds up, okay? Trying to keep the knee stacked over the ankle. Obviously there is going to be a little bit of movement, or quite a lot of movement, and pulling back through. Really important to come all the way through at the top. Don't finish here, okay? Squeeze the glutes, come all the way through there. So we're buried up to sand at the knee. We're going to tip that pelvis forwards, stick the bum out, keep the chest lifted, lower down until you feel a slight stretch in the hamstring, and then pull that through. Because it's going to look different compared to everyone. If you've got quite tight hamstrings, you may just be going to there. If you're quite flexible, you may be able to go further. But we are just trying to work the hamstrings, okay? So for me, if I lower down now, I feel a stretch there, so that's where I'd come back up. If I wanted to go lower, I would start to move through my back, and my back will round, okay, which we don't want. So we want to keep the back flat. We hinge through, get that slight stretch, pull back through. Hinge at the waist, keep the chest lifted, pull back through. So you want as much of your t-shirt on your chest facing forward as you can to maintain that flat back. Do use some things that support beside you for balance. Again, this one, more so than the last one, you will lose even more balance doing it. So don't get overly frustrated. We're trying to make you off balance, so don't get too frustrated with that. 12 reps on one side, followed by 12 reps on the other side. So right there, we've looked at double leg squats, we've looked at marching glute bridges, we've looked at split squats, and we've looked at single leg deadlifts. So we've covered front and back of the thighs, a little bit of core stability in there as well as glutes. Coming on to calves next. This one, you probably will need a little bit of something to balance onto, again, either a chair, just next to the wall, anything like that. And the aim is, we'll be doing single leg calf raises. So I'm just going to show you from the back. Holding lightly with the fingertips on the door in front of you, raise one leg, and then what we're going to do is we're going to lift the heel off the ground as high as you can, and then slowly control back to the ground. So it's a 1, 2, up, 1, 2, down. We've got the knee slightly bent, so we're not locking out at the knee. The knee's slightly bent, and we're looking anything over 12 reps, so 12 to 20 repetitions. Again, after you've done this a couple of times, you may know if you've got a stronger or weaker side. Start on the weaker side first and try and match that. We're trying to look in at range for that one, so we're trying to get up as high as you can, heel as high as you can, slowly control back down again. If single leg is too challenging, then we can regress it and come on to double leg. So again, holding at the front, 1, 2, 1, 2. If you're kind of in between, you can't quite do the single leg, and you find the double too easy, what we can do is we can go up on 2 legs, 1, 2, release one leg, 1, 2, back up on 2, 1, 2, come down on 1, 1, 2, and that can just sort of bridge the gap between going from double calf raises to single leg calf raises. So that's our lower body covered. We've hit all the primary muscles that we want to be using when we're running. We're now going to look at a little bit of core work. So this one's on the floor. We've got dead bugs next. So for this one, what we're looking at, starting position, we want to try and keep our lower back in contact with the floor at all times. My lower back arch is really easy, so I find this really difficult to do. If you're like me, just try and imagine you're pulling your belly button towards your spine and you're pressing that lower back into the floor. I want you to concentrate on your stomach muscles more than the arms and legs that are going to be moving. So right now, I'm pulling my belly button in towards my spine, keeping my lower back in contact with the floor. I'm going to raise my legs so that my knees are stacked over my hips and my knees are at 90 degrees. From here, rest my head to the floor and my arms point up to the ceiling. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten left leg, right arm, everything else stays still. I put it back into the centre. Then I go the opposite side, left leg out, right leg out, left arm out, pull it back in. Already I can feel my lower back lifting a little bit, so just keep reminding yourself, pulling that belly button down towards your spine. And again, this is the sort of tempo we're looking at. 1, 2, out, 1, 2, in. Okay, and the main thing people struggle with that one is, I say sometimes the lower back lifting, so squeeze those abs all the time, but sometimes the coordination, so people end up kind of just like swimming on the back, both arms, both legs moving together. The way we can sort of isolate that, if you've got a foam roller or a cushion or a book, anything that's sort of about 1 foot to 2 foot in length, then we can isolate each side. So if I get myself back into that dead bug position, and then what I can do from here is I can then wedge that between my right leg and left arm, and then I'm just going to work that one side. So now I can't move those other 2 limbs because otherwise the foam roller will move. So I can just work that one side and I can come on to the other side there when I'm ready. Okay, so that's only if you are struggling a little bit with coordination. It just takes a little bit of concentration and a little bit of practice and you'll be fine with that. Okay, that one's done 12 times each side, so we do alternate sides, 24 reps in total. And then the last one, we've got plank walkouts. This one's done for time, so either just set yourself a timer, count the seconds in your head. It's 40 seconds. We're back down onto all fours. This time, I'll come side on for you so you can see a bit better. And this time, knees off the ground. Okay, so it's quite easy for me to hold the position here, and I can hold it for quite a long time. Okay, I don't want it to be easy for you, so I want your elbows, creases to face forward. So I'm externally rotating my shoulders. I'm pressing my hands into the floor to push my shoulder blades up to the ceiling. I'm now tensing my quads to lock my knees out straight. And again, think about that penny between your bum cheeks. I'm squeezing that penny now. And already, you might even hear it in my voice, my abs are shaking before I'm even doing anything. Okay? So we haven't started yet. So from here, this is our starting position. And now I'm just going to walk my hands one step at a time, inch by inch, as far as I can. When I can't go anymore, inch by inch, walking them back in. When I get back under my shoulders, I walk my feet out as far as I can, inch by inch, and I walk my feet back in, inch by inch. As I do so, as I lift one hand, I'm trying to keep everything else as still as I can, so we don't want hips to be rocking from side to side. Solid as a rock, everything else stays completely still. Same with your feet. When I move my feet out, I should be shifting backwards, shifting forwards, but nothing else should be moving. So that's 40 seconds, and that's the 7th exercise of the circuit. You then rest for a minute, okay? At least a minute to 2 minutes, I'd say. Grab a drink, grab a towel, whatever you need, and then go back through it. Again, this isn't so much about sort of fitness or fat burning or calorie burning or getting your heart rate up or anything like that. This is about strength training, okay? So even if you don't think you need that rest physically, in terms of your heart rate and your lungs and your breathing, etc., take that rest, because our muscles need a little bit of time to replenish, redevelop that energy for when we need to do the second round. And you're going to go through that 3 times, okay? So it should take you, the longer the better, okay? Obviously I don't want to be working on this for an hour, but if you're closer to 30 minutes than you are to 45 minutes, then I want you to slow that down, okay? So we've gone through the warm-up, we've gone through the 7 strength exercises there. If you need to reach out to me for any more information on nutrition, strength training or anything like that you need help with, you can reach me on Facebook or Instagram. My pages are Fit For You Personal Training, and I'm based in Stafford. But any problems with the program whatsoever, please do just get in touch with Lee or myself and we can help you straight away. Cheers and good luck. Thank you.